Here's Guy Wehman, Ben Brunson, and Frank Vernuccio inside the news.
Welcome back to our final segment of Inside the News. Frank Vernuccio, Ben Brunson, myself, Guy Wehman. We're going to put a bow on the program. And Frank, you wanted to talk a little bit about the media to kind of get us into the hot buttons. Here's a little anecdote that I got rid of the box, got rid of cable, but I have internet. And I have this app called Fubo, F-U-B-O, which is primarily news and sports. I can get all the sports on there. Well, there was not an agreement with the Turner family of network stations, which means that on that, you've got Fox, you have MSNBC, you have all the major ones. CNN is gone. As of July 1st, they are no longer on that app, and they've actually replaced it with the ESPN app, which is almost unheard of that ESPN would let themselves be a part of something that ESPN does not control. Frank, that's really indicative that people are starting to kind of turn away, and you have a nice little story that you want to share about the media as well.
Well, if you're not getting CNN, Guy, you can certainly turn into the science fiction channel because they're both approximately the same. Look, you could talk about the polls that are being reported, the emphasis that's being placed in media such as CNN or MSNBC. And the funny thing is, they're exactly the same, as Ben pointed out off air, as what you heard in 2016. There is a concerted effort, and I do mean a concerted effort, on the part of the mainstream media to convince Republicans, conservatives, and centrists that the election is all over except for the formalities. Don't bother going to the polls. It's all over. Joe Biden is obviously going to win. Precisely the same tactic they used with Hillary Clinton in 2016. In fact, up until right before the polls closed in 2016, you had it being reported that the election was over. Hillary Clinton was obviously the winner. Indeed, one of the more comical elements in news reporting over the past half century, was the look on some of the major journalist faces at ABC, CBS, and NBC when they had to report how wrong they were and that Donald Trump won. They were slack-jawed and absolutely dumbfounded, didn't know what to say about the victory.
Ben, it is absolutely amazing. As smart as some of these people are, they just don't get it right. They're really dumb.
Well, they want to believe their own narrative, which is that there's going to be a cakewalk, Trump doesn't have a chance. And of course, it's, the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party is what most of the press has become. Very open. We no longer have the type of independent outlets that you used to be able to rely on for some type of objective news. That's what the New York Times was 20 years ago. Definitely not that way now. It's a joke of its former self. And they all want to believe their own narrative. They're all talking to the same people, and they want to discourage Trump supporters and Trump voters and try to bully them into staying home, just the way you get bullied on the streets if you try to openly express your support of Donald Trump. It's not going to work this time, just like it didn't work 4 years ago.
All right, 60 seconds each for hot button topics. Frank, yours.
It's time to put together some pieces. We're told that the police should be defunded, and indeed many large cities are doing exactly that, either defunding them, eliminating them, or slashing their budgets. We're also being told by mayors like the mayor of Chicago and the mayor of St. Louis that people don't have the right to defend themselves. So if you can't call the police and you can't defend yourselves, who's really in charge? Who's keeping you safe? Well, what the left wants to basically say is that the mob is in control. The left-wing mob will decide where you can live, whether you're safe, whether you can protect yourself. Does this differ at all from what happened in the Soviet Union after the communists took over? Does this differ at all what happened in Nazi Germany, where the normal elements of control were eliminated, and if you didn't get along with the Gestapo, then you really were in danger? We're seeing that happen here in the United States right now.
Well, you tied it right in with the very first sentence out of our mouths at the beginning of the show. Who's in charge? Well done there, Frank. Ben, what's your comment?
Well, look, I think everyone is learning. This has been a great Trump triumph of his first administration, and it's entered the consciousness of the Chinese Communist Party is an evil regime. They're not going to get better. They're not going to reform. And people who thought so, like me 30 years ago, were wrong. They are an evil regime. And so I have started to make an effort to try to avoid buying Chinese products. It's very difficult to do. I was in Walmart shopping a couple of days ago, and I just started looking at what was made in China, and virtually everything in the textiles area was made in China that I looked at. So it's difficult to do. I didn't buy anything because I decided I'm going to go try to find American-made products on Amazon. I know it's difficult for people because Chinese products are cheaper and it fits people's budget, but people need to make an effort to try to avoid Chinese products.
This is now Ben's shopping tip of the week. Last week it was buy Goya foods. This week, don't buy China.
And that's worked. Goya is beating the boycott in a big way. So right, that's working.
We got to get out of here. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Frank.
Great being with you. Defund China.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week on AUN TV and our affiliates. We'll catch you again next week.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.